Welcome to Grow Overload. I'm Anthony, and let's talk a little bit about AI. This is one topic I'm very interested in and been watching for a while, and even kind of dabbling in it, right? I am a software engineer during the day, so some of the stuff as it comes up, I want to take a deeper look into and try to even use it, right, in my own personal way, or even try to develop one to see how well it works, see how you can get it to work, how the nuts and bolts get down to it. So it's been something I've been interested in. While Nvidia is really capitalizing on it, right? Their quarter is supposed to be just astounding, right? Their guidance is $11 billion this quarter, the most ever in a quarter they've ever had, basically because of the H100s to help with AIs. I think that there is more here to what it is. Now, everyone says it's kind of like artificial intelligence. And while, you have generated AI and all these other ones too, I think of it more as assistance. Um, will AI replace things? Most definitely. Will, but I think of it also will improve things. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a full replacement for everything. You're still going to need, people to do certain things and everything else. But my big thing will it help research? Absolutely. But for me, right, as a developer, how can it assist me into being even a better developer, be able to get more done, right? I think of it as we can accomplish more in the same amount of time by helping it along and everything else, right? Maybe at some point it can code itself and everything else, but even to date, we still have errors with it. There's still going to be errors. There's still going to be things that need to be corrective, depending upon how it learns, right? And if you can go along and come alongside of it, uh, and be that or what it kind of or help create it, right, and make it better. I think that's going to be able to jump this and go forward. I think there's going to be a lot more applications that it gets into, more technical side of things later on, that is going to be really kind of interesting, right? If you can, start doing building designs and codes based upon all the local municipalities, building codes and requirements, that's going to be a huge jump as well. You have, I think you're still going to need somebody to run, calcs or whatever else, or double check its work for a period of time, maybe forever, right? I don't know how reliable we're going to get to at this point, right? We're still in the early infancy. I love to be able to say, yeah, it's going to be rock solid, good to go. But let's get autocorrect working, with with generative AI or something like that. Let's make sure autocorrect can be rock solid. And then let's also talk about everything else it's going to be able to do. I have, everyone says that we're going to have self-driving this, self-doing that. I always say, let's first get the autocorrect working, and then let's talk about everything else. Like, I think one thing that we're going through, it's great to do all the research, but we're jumping through so many hoops trying to see where we can end up to next, that we're forgetting that maybe we should get the little things working first, get those ironed out, so that we can get the whole piece of software working properly. And as a developer, right, you see that a lot, right? You just keep pushing out new features and you forget to get the baseline architecture working, and then you have more problems down the road, and then you have to go and redo that, right? This is one thing where you have to try to, work through all that stuff. I think it's going to be extremely useful in a lot of applications, assisting in certain ways. I think of it also as a gaming standpoint. Think of all your NPCs now having a unique dialogue with them, maybe even having different attacks than what were maybe programmed in initially, that we or what we've programmed in the past. And you can then now have some of this generation stuff based upon input of what the character is doing, and maybe that also increased difficulty. And we've seen some of this where some of these programs have been able to do that. It's not been perfect, but it is a glimpse of what we're able to capable of doing. And this is where, the AI stuff I think can really shine. It can maybe help out get a game out quicker. It can maybe help, have a more expansive world, a more unique dialogue, a better in-depth story. I'm a big single player fan, like storylines in games, and so if you have a more immersive storyline, if you're able to do it, it'd be really cool to see. So there's a lot of this stuff, that I think AI can really do with. And right now, Nvidia is in prime position. I'd like to see what AMD can do. I know that they have an AI summit here. When is their AI summit? AMD. Let me just look this up quick. The AMD, the AI Summit London, June 14th and 15th. So this is going to be an interesting one to go see here, and to see what AMD is going to uh, do for this, for the summit, for the AI summit, and I'm really excited to see. uh, you know, AMD bought Xilinx, right? They have graphics and they have CPU. So you have this kind of homegrown, but a homegrown ability to have all three on one chip. Nvidia can push this H100, and Nvidia is going for it. They have a software stack next to none that you can use. If AMD is able to start entering in that software stack, get something out, I see that there could be, Nvidia is just going to sell a lot of GPUs. They're going to be a major player. AMD can enter that and be a player. I don't know if they'll be a major player, but where's Intel going to be in all this too? Intel has a lot of the same technologies AMD has, right? They've, tried to create a graphics line. They've had integrated graphics for a while. They've done a lot with compute graphics. Look at some of their other graphics cards throughout their history. They bought what was their FPGA? Starts with an A. I am blanking on it right now, but they bought that, and then they also have the CPU side. If they can start to iron this out, this could be a huge benefit to see what is going on, and what is going to be um, what is going to be going. June 13th for AMD, by the way. I finally got to their AMD showcase next generation data center and AI technologies from AMD's site. I'll post this in the link below. There's a YouTube link, so you can subscribe to their channel. But back to it, Intel. Where's Intel going to be going? That is one of the questions I do have. Intel, I, I, I want them in the market, right, to be able to go through. I think, you know, with Nvidia going out there, I think a lot of these hyperscalers might go with Nvidia, but I also would not be surprised if these hyperscalers also help out AMD, and not just be out of the goodness of their heart, but because I think AMD is going to be able to offer a very compelling product, but they also don't want to be locked into Nvidia, because I do believe Nvidia will ratchet that price up as as all these AI people get dependent on Nvidia. Now we'll see if how much hardware is all needed, right? Once you train these AIs and once you have generated this data, I personally think you're going to have to continue to generate data, continue to improve the AI for quite some time before it starts hitting there, right? You can always help with it's already been able to help with research, been able to look at, maybe suggest different things that you may have not seen. Same thing, kind of goes in if you do peer coding. If you're familiar with that, if you peer code, sometimes people are able to see things that one coder did not see. That's always a benefit there. But this is some of the sort of stuff that, I think right now it's not so much AI as artificial intelligence. I think it's more assistive intelligence, and it can really be assistive to you in getting something done. Eventually, it could be more artificial, but I do think that this is something that we do have to be able to be ready for and be able to use, and to me it's technology. It's something to be accepted. It's something that's going to um, it's something to learn and something to really adapt to. Are there negatives? I'm sure there are, but like with anything, there are negatives to a whole bunch of things where some people use it crazily. is an AI going to learn itself to be crazy? That is something that we're going to have to kind of dive into and kind of learn about. How do you prevent that is a whole nother topic in itself. But, as AI has been flying around and every single, I can't believe it. I guess if you're a publicly traded company and if you want your stock price to go up, you see how many times you can say AI in your meetings and your stock thing goes up. But I think that is one thing that you're able to do and able to see here is, what are each of these companies going to be capable of and capable of doing, and we'll see what the hyperscalers do. There's Chat GPT, there's Bing Chat now, Google's coming out with stuff. They're putting this AI everywhere. And at times you can see some things are restrictive, some things aren't, but it's a work in progress. And as much as everyone wants it here now, and Nvidia is saying it's here. I think it's also another thing that Nvidia can use to sell their H100, to sell those GPUs at a very high price after they've kind of had, you know, not. It's going to be a huge growth, right? They really haven't had this growth. So they're going to have this huge influx of cash, which can really help them out. I think that's what they're trying to capitalize on too. Are GPUs going to be the only way that this is computed later on, or is there something else with like an FPGA or even an ASIC that then takes over? Who knows? But that could also be another, improvement in the compute power and reducing the power consumption as well. So these are all things that are going through my head as I'm thinking about this stuff of what it's really capable of. But I'm excited to see what you think. I've gone through some of the things that I think it can help for. I think that there are, if you don't develop an AI internally at a company, these open AI algorithms that are out there, this with generative AI and everything else, I'm sure companies are looking at very carefully because they don't want to have a legal ramification for what they use. So there is that as well. And, learning this stuff and being part of it, I think it can help solve things and help be assistive, solve problems, help with, diseases, help with, you know, maybe there's a networking problem or just throwing it out there. What if there's ransomware? And it's able to figure out how to remove it all, right? These are some of the sort of things where maybe it can help with securing a company a little bit better, or showing where there could be holes, or if you're a security company, building out an AI that tries to poke holes into things and has different variations. There's even umpteen million different things that can be happening. Help with chip design, help with, testing. I'm in software, so, if it could test and help vary things a little bit, that maybe shows where a bug is in a piece of software that's being developed. Help with gaming side things. I think that there's a whole bunch of positives that can happen, but you do have to pay attention to some of the negatives as well. But there's a huge hardware impact on this, software, and developing tools so that you can easily program AI and develop it and have it learn better. I don't think. I think people are like, oh, it's going to be replacing all this stuff. I also don't think that people see how much opportunity is going to present to actually create some things too, to be able to develop and everything else that's out there that, maybe someday it might replace. I don't know, right? I'm not going to be that future looking. That I'll cross that bridge and we'll talk about that when it gets there. But right now I'm thinking about everything it's going to help create. And there's a lot of opportunity for people to jump on board and to be in a position to help use it. You just think about it, bank security, right? Helping banking security and showing where maybe some potential holes are there, right? Where, people are accessed. There's a lot to this that could be going through. And I, for one, am willing to learn and willing to keep my eyes open of what it's capable of, because I think that it is another technology that is going to be useful to people, and we're going to be able to use it, and hopefully it helps us have, everything from better products, better entertainment, better stuff than what we've had before. It would be really cool. I'm just thinking as I'm going through this, what it can do is you start taking a look at stuff, right to repair, and helping you repair stuff a little bit quicker. That would be kind of cool. So we can have more ability to actually repair technology that may be broken and maybe needs a simple repair, and help us do that so that we can use our devices longer and stop having so much e-waste. That would be really cool too. So with that, let me know what your thoughts are on AI and where it's headed. Let me know what you think about the hardware landscape. I'll probably cover the AMD stuff on the 13th. I was going to cover Nvidia too, but I think maybe I'll do that at the same time and with AMD, and so I have a more well-rounded look of what AMD and Nvidia are looking, or maybe I'll split it off here and do it sooner. But let me know if you want a separate video on Nvidia's AI presentation. What was it, mostly at Computex? What I've seen of it, I've seen most of it already, the presentation. It leaves a little bit. It was kind of interesting, but we'll see what goes forward. So another thing too, I was just thought of this. What if it helped design fabs and get fabs up faster? Let's say you were having a problem with a fab and you ran into a problem. You give it, hey, I've been doing this, this, and this. Do you have another idea to help me get over this hump to make sure that these yields are better, or to make sure this problem is solved? And that could just be from a fab, but that could be in anywhere, writing a piece of software, designing something, etc. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for it. So time will tell, but I've been rambling on, and I could keep on probably going with all the ideas popping in my head here. But let me know what you thoughts are on AI, the hardware side of it. Nvidia is going to be selling a lot of hardware this quarter, trying to get it out there, but we'll all see how it all ends up throughout the rest of this year. And hopefully AMD can come out there as well. Maybe Intel, they have this one API. You think Intel would be able to capitalize on this with their one API software stack, with the hardware that they have? What is it, like Altera? Was that it? Was that their FPGA technology they bought a few years back? They have all this stuff. Just let's go and kind of use it. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. I think that we're going to see some really cool stuff here later on. And I hope that it's not just all hype and it dies. I do have that feeling in some industries that everyone's going to be hyping it up and think it's so good, and they're going to attack it and it's going to be horrible, and then nobody's going to want to touch it in those areas again. And that's what I'm a little afraid of when you have something like this that can be so helpful and assistive. Yeah, you don't want to be screwed up. So I do appreciate everything. I do appreciate all you guys supporting this channel. I do have some reviews that I'm trying to get done here. I have this car tool that I've been using on cars and stuff. I think that's a nice little switch up on the channel. It's really computer based. With cars these days, they're so computer based. It's really kind of interesting what you can get into with all the computers inside of a car and to really see what's going on. But I've got that coming. I've been doing this scanner. I don't know if you can quite see it here. That's the Pulse-Tec Optifilm. I've been using that to scan some photos. Been trying to iron that out. Really some cool stuff. I've scanned a few, and now I just got to go through a whole bunch of my parents' photos and get those all scanned in, uploaded. Really some cool stuff hopefully coming on the channel really soon. Working all that, getting that content out to you as well. But I thank you so much for supporting the channel, helping Gray Overload grow. I really do appreciate it. Do all the normal stuff. Click subscribe, or share, subscribe. Click on the bell icon and all that fun stuff. And until next time, God bless.